I've been active in the NAACP since I was a kid growing up in Merced, California. I was very happy to come to Boston and see a very vibrant chapter. Back then, when I was in law school in 1975 and 1978, the big issue was Bakke, whether or not black students would be able to continue to go to law school, business school, medical school. And the NAACP was an exceptional place to organize marches that we held, rallies, information sessions about diversity and how important it was. So it was my life. As a law student thinking about it, I wanted to make sure that when I finished my career at Harvard, that the doors were left open for the next generation. I could not, and we could not have done that without the support of the Boston NAACP. When I arrived here, the NAACP was already involved in issues about education. People may remember that black kids were denied access to schools. There was the busing crisis in the early 1970s. And the NAACP was out marching, collecting petitions, having rallies, and we were involved in it. And we're saying it doesn't make sense for us to be at Harvard Law School and not involved in the community when children can't go to school. So the idea that they were out front on busing in the 1970s was a catalyst for our involvement as law students to get involved as well. My earliest recollection in reading about the NAACP was what they were doing back in the early 1900s. NAACP nationally was talking about another black was lynched somewhere in America. And that to me was very profound. Here's an organization, a multiracial organization, talking about lynching. And that sort of made me think, wow, why are they doing that? And it was very obvious that they were doing it. There was that their way of protesting. They couldn't end the segregation in schools, in restaurants, and hotels, but they could at least say a lynching occurred, and this is part of the big problem. When I came back here as a teacher at Harvard in the 1980s, one of the first things I did at the urging of Kathy Reddick was to become a life member of the NAACP, because my sense is that they have opened up doors for me, they've sacrificed for me. I wouldn't be where I am, a student at Stanford University, a student at Harvard Law School, a professor with tenure at Harvard Law School. I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for the NAACP. And to cap it all off, when I started the Charles Hamilton Houston Institute for Race and Justice in 2005, I started not just because Charles Hamilton Houston was a Harvard law student in the 1920s, but he also was an NAACP lawyer in the 1930s. So I was deeply influenced by the history of an organization, that people, no matter where they came from, were committed to justice and equality. There's an article written a couple of years ago, is the NAACP still relevant? And the answer is yes. If I weren't being taped, I would say hell yes, because it's that important in terms of what they're doing in the 21st century. When Ben Jealous said he wants folks in the community to start photographing police brutality, that was important. When the NAACP marched because of the stop and frisk policy in New York against Mayor Bloomberg, who's an independent and considered a liberal, that to me is progress. When the NAACP talked about the rights of immigrants and that we need to make sure that we have sound immigration policies, that makes sense. When the NAACP is around the country right now, in reaction to Barack Obama's election in 2008, when more than 30 states changed their laws so that we couldn't vote, NAACP has been out organizing people, trying to eliminate voter suppression. Is it relevant now? It's relevant, even more relevant in the 21st century than it might have been a century ago, because we think the laws have changed, but the practices are even worse now. So we need an NAACP. We need a strong NAACP committed to justice, equality, and fairness. That's what the mission of the NAACP is. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad to be honored by them.